Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to all. My name is Zed Jago and I will be your host for this conference live from New York City, United States. Foremost, it is our pleasure to welcome all of you to today's Outer Space Law Talk program for the year 2020. Today's beautiful and natural venue is reflective of our theme for today's program, Fly High, Drive the Sky. Our program today will comprise of a talk by our honored guest from the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, known as MOSTI, Yang Berhormat Nazir as a Minister of MOSTI, who has been kind enough to sacrifice his weekend and join us in our program today. So, we would like to again welcome and thank all our honored guests and participants who join us at this wonderful spot to ensure that this program is a success. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start our talk soon. Session is an interactive session where the speaker, Yang Berhormat Nazir, will love participants to ask questions wherever they are down. We are indeed very fortunate to have Yang Berhormat Nazir, the Minister of MOSTI Malaysia, to deliver a talk entitled The Principle of Outer Space Law, Common Heritage of Mankind. Please put your hands together for Yang Berhormat Nazir.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I bid to all of you. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself first. I'm Nazir, Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation of Malaysia since March 2020. The entire component of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, Green Technologies and Energy component from the Ministry of Energy, Green Technology and Water, and related component of the Climate Change and Environment from the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment has been restructured and formed the Ministry of Energy, Science, Technology, Environment, and Climate Change, MESTEC. After 2020 Malaysia political crisis, MESTEC has been restructured and its name has been changed to the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, following the formation of the Muhyiddin Cabinet. Ladies and gentlemen, a fellow participant, Territorium Comune Humanitatis, or known as the concept of the common heritage of mankind, is the principles of international law confined not only to space law. It is also reflected to the United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and to a lesser extent trace of the doctrine be found in the Antarctic Treaties. Its purpose is to provide special protections through and ensure the integrity of area which lie beyond the limit of any national territory that are of great significance for present and future generations. Common heritage of mankind is the principles of international law that hold, that defines territorial areas, and element of humanity's common heritage should be held in trust for future generations and be protected from exploitation by individual, national state, and corporations. Therefore, when we look back at the history, Mr. Aviv Parto, the Maltese ambassador to the United Nations, launched the entirely new concept of international law. In August 1967, he proposed on the behalf of the government, his government, that the seabed and ocean flow beyond the limit and present national jurisdictions should be declared a common heritage of mankind, and it's such to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and administered by an international authority for the benefit of all peoples and of present and future generations. The concept fired the imagination, particularly developing countries. On 15 December 1969, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Resolution 2574D by 62 votes in favor, primarily developing nations, 28 against who industrialized nations with 28 abstentions, declare a moratorium on seabed exploitations. The following year, on 17 December 1970, in the Resolution 2749, General Assembly solemnly declared the seabed and ocean floor and the subsoil, therefore beyond the limit of national jurisdiction, as well as the resources of the area of the common heritage of the mankind. Around the same time as UNCLOS in 1969, Argentina presented to the Legal Subcommittee a draft agreement to the principal governing activities in the use of the natural resource of the moon and other celestial bodies. The first article proclaimed that natural resource of the moon and other celestial bodies shall be common heritage of mankind. Benefit derived from the use which shall be made available to all in order to promote higher standard of living and economic and social development. The draft furthermore distinguished between resources used in situ and other brought back to the earth. To the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants, the concept of common heritage of mankind has been inserted in two international legal instruments, namely 1982 United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS 1982, 1979, which is agreement governing the activities of the state of the moon and other celestial bodies, which is Moon Agreement or Moon Treaty we call. The negotiation of these two treaties ran in parallel and influenced each other. The present of the newly independent developing state in the international area. New international economic order. In their view, the industrialized countries have taken advantage of the least developed are the one for countries. Therefore, it was time for the former to give something back to enable the latter to develop. Under the new international economic order theory, industrialized states were under the obligation actually to first mandatorily transfer technology to developing countries. Second is financially assist them. And then lastly, which is a third, create a licensing system for international good. We give preferential access to the least technological advanced state. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the first concerns in many nations at the very beginning of the space age was to prevent the spread of colonialism to outer space. Moon Treaty being the first instrument officially to declare part of the world to be in law, the common heritage of mankind in 1982 UN Convention on the Space Law which accord the same status to the deep ocean bed and subsoil. Article 11 of Clause 1 declare the moon and its natural resource to be common heritage of mankind. Yeah. However, unlike UNCLOS, the Moon Agreement does not fully elaborate the common heritage of mankind concept. Instead, its meaning and scope remain largely debatable. Article 11 leaves its entire openness on how the international regime for the exploitation of the resource of the moon and other celestial body should be shaped and exploitative lunar activity organized. For example, nothing similar in International Seabed Authority is created under the Moon Agreement. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Yang Berhormat Nazir, I have one question for you. How does the concept of common heritage of mankind apply to international space law?
The power struggle between US and the former Soviet Union, the two main nations involved in this race to space, along with the paranoia and suspicions resulting from the Cold War, fueled the avoidance of a race to own any part of space. The former Soviet Union emerged as a pioneering leader when it launched the first satellite Sputnik into orbit 1957 and landed to the Luna on the moon in 1966, sending a wave of alarm through the United States, which feared that Soviets would stake a property claim in the moon. This prompted the United States to initiate treaties limiting activities to the space to peaceful purpose and preventing any state from exercising ownership. The following two sections actually focus on the common heritage concept as applied to 1967 Otis Space Treaties and 1979 Moon Treaty. In 1967, treaties on the principle governing the activities of states in the exploration and use of the outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, become cornerstones of the international space law. And the first treaty drafted by the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Use of the Outer Space. With the Antarctica treaties, the Outer Space Treaty promotes freedom of access from research and scientific investigation. The treaty denies land ownership right to any one sovereign and instead state that exploration and use of the outer space should be carried out on for the benefit of all people irrespectively of the degree of economic or scientific development. The Outer Space Treaty does not use the term common heritage of the mankind, but rather than use the term of province of mankind, stating that exploration and use the outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, shall be carried out from the benefit of the interests of all countries and shall be province of all mankind. According to the Professor Amal Karis, province seems associated with the ideas of the territories or the responsibility over territory, thus giving notions of control but property as possible wealth. Yeah, for Professor Karis actually state that the ideas of the heritage, however, seems indirectly linked with the property and the ownership. He referred to the law and the law of the Sea Convention, which declared that the sea floor, its resource, are the common heritage of the mankind, and suggests that this language make it clear that the property of this resource is to be legal persons, humanity. Unfortunately, humanities invoke Professor Kara's question, who is a humanity? more precisely, who is entitled to speak for humanity. And one country, one vote system, majority usually consists of the least developed nation due to their great number. More likely than not, the majority does not include spacefaring. The second is for the Montreal Treaties. As February 1, 2001, the United States ratified the 1979 agreement governing the activities of the states on the moon and other celestial bodies. And addition 5 signed it. Most of the moon treaties just rehash the old space treaty, so some new provision do appear. Because of the new provision, many countries refuse to sign. As with the old space treaty, the common heritage ideal materialized, quoted at time in province of all mankind language. This language first appears in Article 4, which states exploration and use of the moon shall be province of all mankind and shall be carried out benefit of all countries. That's all I think.
Thank you so much to the speaker Yang Berhormat Nazir for highlighting on the topic of common heritage and mankind and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. Did everybody benefit from the talk? We certainly did. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants, with that note, we thank everyone for attending the talk session today. We hope all the participants gain benefit from this program. We hope to see you at our next conference. It's your host, Zed Jago. Assalamualaikum and goodbye.